If you want to build a lean physique, there are 5 pillars that you need to nail. I have been in the coaching industry for over 6 years, coached over 1,000 people and have over 500 documented transformations online. These are the 5 pillars that most people need to focus on if they want to build a lean physique. Number 1, training. 2, nutrition. 3, output. 4, sleep. And number 5 is accountability. And today I'm going to run you through all 5 of these guys and exactly what you guys need to nail in order to build a lean physique. So the first pillar that we're going to focus on is going to be training. Now with your training, there's many different types of ways to train. You can train for strength, you can train for your physique, you can train for your general fitness, high rocks, weightlifting, bodybuilding, powerlifting, whatever you want. There's many different ways to train. But the first thing that you need to do is you need to prioritize which methodology you want to focus on and what is going to be your main priority, because each one of those will deliver a different outcome. The way I like to explain this to my clients is by drawing a triangle. So for example, like every triangle, we have 3 corners. So let's say, for example, in this triangle at the top here, we have P for, we'll call it your physique. Okay, so physique is up here. Bottom left of the triangle, we'll put strength. So we'll say strength for powerlifting style training or just general strength training. And bottom corner, right corner, we'll put down or for running. So a big problem that a lot of people face is trying to do too many things at once. What a lot of people will do is they'll want to focus on all 3, and as a result of focusing on all 3, they'll sit in the middle here and they'll be kind of shit at all 3 of them. They'll be alright, but a jack of all trades is a master of none. Some people will like to focus on 2 things at the same time. So you could focus on your running and your physique, and you're going to be in here. You're going to be okay at your physique, you're going to be okay at your running, not great on the strength side of things, but you'll be decent at these 2 sides. But as you can see, if you really want to get really fucking good at one thing, and let's say for example this is your physique, you want to drop the body fat, get into the best shape of your life, you will have to prioritize your physique. And as a result of you prioritizing your physique, that is dragging you further away from your strength and further away from your running. If you want to be the best at one thing, you have to prioritize it. So the reason why powerlifters don't have the best physique, a lot of them are fat. Runners don't have the best physique, a lot of them are skinny. Runners are also not strong because they focus on running. Powerlifters that focus on their strength are shit at running and don't have a good physique. So if you want to focus on one of them, or if you want to get really good at one of them, you will have to understand that as a byproduct of focusing on your physique, your running and your strength will take a hit, or vice versa. So the first thing that I would recommend everyone to do is make themselves a priority. Physique, running, strength, whatever it is, but don't try and be the master of all, okay? Just focus on one and prioritize that one. So that is the first thing that I focus on when it comes to your training, is actually focusing and prioritizing on what type of training do you want to be good at. The second thing that we're going to look at is going to be your volume and your frequency, okay? So volume is going to be how many times we are hitting that muscle group, volume plus frequency. So volume is going to be almost per session or per week, and then frequency is how many times across the week. So as a rough rule of thumb, I'd be aiming for maybe 6 to 8 sets per session. Frequency, ideally you want to be hitting each muscle group twice per week. Now, I am not a teacher, I'm an online coach. My whiteboard skills are not the best, and neither is my handwriting. But volume, we want to make sure that we're hitting each muscle group in terms of volume, 6 to 8 working sets per session is my personal preference from a coaching standpoint. Again, that's ensuring that all the other factors are in place, which is intensity, which is what we're going to go into next. And then also your frequency, ideally hitting each muscle group twice across the week. So looking at a split, a push-pull legs rotation or something like that, allowing you to get each muscle group twice. Now, the third thing when it comes to your training, and probably one of the most important things, is your intensity. The most important thing with your training is not your training plan, is not your exercise selection, it's not what split you're following, it is the intensity at which you're training at, the effort, okay? Because there's many different ways to skin a cat, but if you do not apply effort, it won't get done. So when you're building muscle, there's a thing called reps in reserve, which basically how many reps away from failure you are. So intensity is one of, if not the most important things when it comes to your training to build a lean physique. To understand this, we're going to look at it as a graph, okay? So we're going to have a line here, and here we're going to have, we'll say, on this side of the graph is going to be, we'll call it muscle growth. I think that's the y-axis, and then I think this is the x-axis. I could be wrong. Reps in reserve, also known as RIR. Okay? So, for example, let's say, use the red marker, we have down here, we'll say is 10 RIR. 10, okay, we'll call this 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0. Okay? And alongside here will be your muscle growth. So not all reps are created equally. What I mean by that is the closer a rep is to failure, the more stimulus it's going to demand from the body, or the more stimulus is going to apply to the muscle to elicit a response to build muscle. So when it comes to reps in reserve, when you are 10 reps away from reserve, you're not really getting much from a muscle growth standpoint. So let's just say we're kind of coming along here. Okay, so 9 reps, 8 reps, 6 reps, 5 reps, and then from here we're going to start to draw this bit of an S curve where we start to come up. And as you can see, the closer we get to failure, the more muscle growth that occurs. The problem with a lot of people is they stop here. They stop at 5 or 4 reps in reserve, thinking that they've done enough because it's starting to get a little bit difficult, not understanding that they've just worked themselves to the point where they're about to get this big, massive return on investment, where they're about to actually build the muscle. But that's where a lot of people stop, is when they get themselves to that point where they're about 5 reps away from reserve, 4 reps away from reserve. It starts to become a little bit difficult. The reps start to become a little bit more of a grind to get those out. And as a result of that, you think, I've worked hard, but all you've done is you've stopped at 5 or 4 reps in reserve when all the muscle growth was on the other side of that, okay? So you're gonna have to push past discomfort, and that's why intensity is the most important thing. And if you could take anything away from this video, is this. Muscle growth along the side here, reps in reserve down the bottom. The closer we get to failure, especially around that 4, 3, 2, 1, 0 reps in reserve, is where you're gonna see the most response in terms of muscle growth. Now, another thing with your training, progressive overload. Everyone knows what progressive overload is, or hopefully you do anyways. Progressive overload simply means doing more than you did the last time you were in the gym. Doing more over time. So that can come through either reps, okay, or load, weight. Okay, so either more reps or more weight. So the goal should be for you to reach the top end of your rep range with the weight that you were doing while hitting failure. So along that reps in reserve, bringing it to 0 reps in reserve or close to 0 reps in reserve from an intensity standpoint. Once you've reached the top end of your rep range with good form, good execution, you have increased the reps, you've hit the top end of the rep range. Now it is time to add load. And the goal every single session for you should be for you to either add reps or to add load to the movements that you were doing. You cannot go into the gym and continue to do the same thing day after day, week after week. Your body will adapt to the stimulus that you are putting on top of it or applying to the muscle, and that will just become the new norm. You are no longer going to be eliciting any sort of response in terms of muscle growth. And when it comes to building a muscle, you have to demand your body to grow. Your body is quite happy just to stay where it is. It's comfortable where it is right now. It does not want to change that much. You have to get uncomfortable in the gym and demand your body to grow. So they are the 2 most common forms of progressive overload. Other forms of progressive overload that might not be as black and white as reps and weight could be better form. So maybe you do the same weight for the same amount of reps, but much better execution. It could be less rest time in between sets. It's another form of progressive overload. You could use intensity techniques to help this as well, but progressive overload really is the king when it comes to building muscle, that's a very, very bad crown. But progressive overload is super, super important, and probably the most important thing beyond intensity to make sure that you are building muscle. And the last point when it comes to training is going to be your execution. Progressive overload means nothing if you are not executing it correctly. If you increase weights or increase reps but your execution comes down, that is not progressive overload. That is you just ego lifting, moving weight from A to B. Your movements should be standardized. Your execution should be standardized. Every rep, every set within that movement should look the same. The only thing that slows down within your sets is the speed of your last rep, the speed of the eccentric on your last rep. So, the concentric, not the eccentric. The speed of the concentric on your last rep. So, execution is super important. The way I like to explain this is when you're going to the gym, it's kind of like you're playing a game of darts. And it doesn't matter how many darts you have or how hard you throw the dart if you don't hit the dartboard. So when you're going to the gym, it doesn't matter how many days of the week you go, how many sets, how many reps, how much weight, if you are not hitting the muscle. It's like you're playing darts and you're not hitting the dartboard. Or to look even more into it, imagine me and you watching this video, imagine me and you are playing darts against each other. And you're doing great, you're hitting the dartboard, fantastic. And you throw 50 darts and you hit the dartboard every single time. Brilliant. You're doing the thing, you're getting the points, it looks great. But with those 50 darts, you hit one every single time. So you got 50 points. And then I come in and I throw one dart and I hit bullseye and I get 50 points. So what I had to do once, you had to do 50 times because my execution was better. My form was better. I was a lot more accurate, and that's the same in the gym. You want to make sure when you're going to the gym that you're hitting bullseyes, you're hitting triple 20s. You're not just going in and hitting ones and twos and barely getting anything from it. Okay, so from a time spent in the gym, you want to get your best return on investment for your time spent in the gym. The quickest and easiest way to do that is for you to improve your execution within your training. So the second pillar that we are going to focus on is going to be your nutrition. Honestly, I would say 75% of results are down to your nutrition. You will not out-train a bad diet. And when it comes to building a lean physique, you really want to be on top of your food. So when it comes to your nutrition, there's three things that we want to kind of know about, okay? The first thing is going to be your maintenance calories. Your maintenance calories is the level of calories that your body needs to maintain its current weight. So maintenance, that is everything that you need on a day-to-day basis to maintain the weight that you are at. I think that's how you spell maintenance, I could be wrong. Again, I'm not a teacher, I'm an online coach. From there, if we add calories to our maintenance, that will put us into a surplus. Surplus of calories is what you need to build muscle, to be in a gaining phase, and to go into a gaining phase basically is a surplus of calories. Take away from our maintenance, so if we minus calories from our maintenance calories, that is going to create a deficit of calories, and that is everything that you want when it comes to dropping body fat and also getting yourself into a lean position. So, deficit. When it comes to figuring out your maintenance calories, a couple of ways you can do it. The easiest way would be to look up a TDEE calculator online. You can get free ones online. Another quick and easy way to do it is to get your body weight in pounds, multiply that number by 15 if you're a male, 13 or 14 as a female. That will give you a very, very rough estimate of your maintenance calories. It does not account for your day-to-day lifestyle, your expenditure, your steps, your workload, your body type, anything like that. But as a rough starting point, you can usually gauge it off that and work from there. So what we want to focus on for today's video, because we want to build a lean physique, is going to be a deficit. So you always want to be lean, realistically. If you're in a position that you're not happy with how you look, you're carrying too much body fat, you want to drop body weight. If long term you want to build muscle, you want to go into a surplus, but you should be in a deficit first to make sure you're lean enough to go into a surplus. Because the leaner you are, the more responsive you're going to be to the food in a surplus. So for the topic of this video, 5 pillars of a lean physique, deficit is what we want to focus on. Now, Beyond the deficit, the surplus, the maintenance, what else do we want to focus on? We have things called macronutrients, okay? So your macros are going to be broken down mainly into your protein, your carbs, and your fats. Now, for this video, I'm just going to focus mainly on protein because that is ultimately the most important one, especially when it comes to getting lean. So, rough rule of thumb, we want 1 gram per pound of body weight. Again, handwriting is not great, but 1 gram per pound of body weight. A lot of times with my clients, I would like to give them slightly higher protein, so maybe 1.2 grams per pound of body weight, especially when dieting in a deficit of calories, because protein has the highest thermogenic effect of feeding, takes the longest to digest within the body, keeps you feeling very satiated and very full, which can help when dieting. So macros, protein, carbs and fats. Protein has 4 calories per gram, so does carbs, 4 calories, and fats have 9 calories. Now, carbs and fats are not the enemy. You do need them, okay? What you want to do is you want to find out your maintenance calories to begin with. You want to create a deficit, so maybe we'll say 250 to 300 calories to create a deficit from our maintenance. We will find our protein target. So for example, let's say we're 200 pounds, we're going to need 200 grams of protein. Let's say our maintenance calories were 2,500. We minus 300 to create a deficit, so we're 2,200. We have 200 grams of protein, so what we'll do is 200 multiplied by 4 is obviously 800 calories, so 800 calories, and then the rest of the calories will be made up through the carbs and the fats. Now, I personally prefer a slightly higher carb diet because that is going to be the most important macro when it comes to performance and recovery from the gym. Fats are extremely important and essential for your hormone function, for brain function, cognitive function. As a female, extremely important hormonally. But I don't want to delve too deep into that. I just want to focus on macros, protein, and then your overall calorie intake for your nutrition. Also then, just general, I suppose, rules of thumb with nutrition. You obviously want to focus on whole foods. You want to focus on your micronutrients as well. So your macros are your protein, carbs and fats. Your micronutrients would be through your fruit, your veg, your fiber, etc. And also, my biggest rule when it comes to your nutrition, if you want to have a lean physique, eat like a fucking adult. That is the most important thing. You're not a child. You don't need a colouring book with your meal. Have vegetables on your fucking plate. Eat protein and eat like someone that has a goal. I'm going to need to give this a little bit of a spray. Okay, so pillar number 3 when it comes to building a lean physique is going to be your output. So 2 things that you want to focus on is going to be your input and your output. So the first thing that people think when it comes to building the lean physique is I need to eat less. So stop putting as much input into my body of calories or energy. So everyone will focus on the input. But for today, I want to focus a little bit more on the output side of things. Input is nutrition. Output is going to be cardio plus steps. Now, when it comes to output, steps are super important and people completely overlook them. Your day-to-day activity, especially your NEAT, your non-exercise activity thermogenesis, okay, N-E-A-T, non-exercise activity thermogenesis. This is pretty much everything that you do throughout the day that is not direct training or cardio or you're actively trying to burn calories. So walking to work, walking to the shop, your daily steps, in work, climbing the stairs, whatever you're doing throughout the day. That goes into your NEAT. Obviously, as a starting point, everyone will focus on the magical 10,000 steps. Now, there is no magic to that number. 10,000 steps is not magical, but it is a very good starting point for majority of people to focus on having that goal, and it's a very, very fucking achievable goal. If you tell me you can't do 10,000 steps, there's really something wrong, okay? 10,000 steps is a great place to start with your output levels. From there, you can obviously increase steps over time as your body adapts and you need to create more of a deficit of calories. We don't always want to consistently be pulling down from food because realistically, when you are starting this phase and you're trying to build a lean physique, you want to drop body fat, you want to have two things. You want to start off with a high level of food and a low level of cardio. And over the duration of your diet, you're going to do this. Okay, your food is going to come down, your cardio, your output's going to go up. But you want to make sure when starting this phase that you have runway either side. So if you're starting this phase and you want to get lean, but you're already doing 5 hours of cardio and you're already eating fuck all food, you have no runway. Okay, so make sure you reset yourself, high food, low cardio, so that you have runways either side. So output cardio in steps, 10,000 steps plus. NEAT is your output, okay, so your non-exercise activity thermogenesis. When it comes to the cardio is a tool, okay? Cardio is a tool that we can use to drop body fat, to create a larger deficit without pulling away from nutrition. Now, the thing with cardio is it does generate fatigue. So you want to be careful with the type of cardio you're doing. A lot of people will ask about running. Running is great. I enjoy running. I'm training for Hyrox at the moment and doing a lot of running, as you guys will see on the channel. But when I am in a different phase, such as I just did my photo shoot prep, I did 0 running and all I did was cardio. And for that cardio, I did LISS cardio. That is low intensity, steady state cardio. The reason for that is it does not generate anywhere near as much fatigue as running does. Running is great, but it generates a fuckload of fatigue. You need fuel to fuel your run and you need fuel to recover from your run, which isn't really conducive to building a lean physique and trying to manage your fatigue, okay? So again, go back to the triangle of priorities. If you want to focus on your physique, you need to focus on your physique. Your running can come when you're lean and you can put food back in. So LISS is low intensity steady state cardio. The reason, again, why I would choose this over high intensity HIIT cardio is from a fatigue aspect. It is going to be much more manageable for us to recover from in order to be able to do it again the next day, and also not driving too much fatigue, because when your body's over fatigued, your body will stop responding. So LISS cardio, again, you want to make sure that you start at low and that you have a runway to go with it. LISS, there's no best machine, treadmill, Stairmaster, cross trainer, bike, whatever it is that you enjoy. Again, keep it consistent. For me and my clients, I always say keep your cardio machine the same. Do not be jumping from bike to treadmill to Stairmaster to cross trainer, because if you do that, you're changing too many variables. Keep the machine the same, and the only variable that will change is time. So 20 minutes to 25 minutes to 30 minutes. Once your body's adapted to that level, it goes again. So LISS is cardio. Again, low intensity, but what's even lower intensity than cardio is steps. Steps are the lowest form of fatigue, okay? You can do as many steps throughout the day without really affecting your fatigue, without affecting your recovery, and they're free. You just get up and you go for a walk. So that's pretty much everything that you need to know in relation to output. Nutrition is input, output is cardio and your steps. Start off with 10,000 steps, bring that up over time. Use direct cardio as a tool, introduce that when you need to, and again, increase that up over time, and use low intensity steady state cardio when it comes to fat loss. Now, the fourth pillar that I want to focus on, sleep. A good day starts with a good night's sleep, and if only people would listen to this, sleep is so important. Okay, everything comes down to your sleep. Your performance, your recovery, your decision making, your cognitive function, your appetite levels, your performance in the gym. It all comes down to how well you slept the night before. So, with your sleep, a couple of things you want to focus on. First of all, sleep has a knock-on effect to a couple of things. Okay, so your performance, as you mentioned, performance in the gym. Okay, so your strength levels as well. It has a knock-on effect to your recovery. Your appetite, your ability to build muscle. Again, your sleep is when your body is repairing itself. It's when it's recovering itself. So you go home after a hard session, you eat good food, and you go to bed and you sleep. That's when your muscles build back bigger and stronger than previous. So in the gym, you're tearing down your muscle fibers. When you go home and you eat your correct nutrition and you get your good night's sleep, that's when they build back bigger and stronger. Performance, recovery, appetite, ability to build muscle, fat loss, decision making. That is not working for me. and honestly, so much more, but I'm not going to go into that. So sleep is super important. Obviously, everyone knows 8 hours of sleep is the rule of thumb. Realistically, that's not achievable for majority of people. Anywhere from even 6 to 7 hours would be great. Ideally, as close to the 8-hour mark as possible. If you can protect your sleep with your life, it will definitely make a massive difference when it comes to building a lean physique. So always prioritize your sleep. A simple rule that I use, and I also get my clients to do, is 1, set an alarm, not to wake up in the morning, but to go to bed at night, okay? Keep your sleep times and your wake times consistent. I wake up at the same time 7 days a week, and I go to bed at the same time 7 days a week. Call it boring, I enjoy it, I feel the same every day. I don't know if it's a Saturday, Sunday or Monday or Tuesday, because I actually don't really care what day of the week it is. I do the same thing every day anyways. Set yourself an alarm to go to bed. Also, limit your caffeine prior to bed. So when it comes to caffeine, caffeine has a 8-hour half-life. So that means if you are having a cup of coffee at 2 o'clock in the day, half of that caffeine is dispersed initially. So 100 mgs, let's say there's 200 mgs you're having, 100 mgs is dispersed initially into the body, and then the other 100 mgs is dispersed over the next 8 hours. So at 10 o'clock at night, you're still having caffeine hit the system. So cut off caffeine early. You could look at supplementation with sleep if needs be. I'm not going to dig into that now, but that's also another option. Your sleep environment is super important. Something I always tell my clients, keep your bedroom to the 2 S's, sex and sleep, okay? Nothing else happens in the bedroom. Don't be watching Netflix, don't be eating fucking your meal inside in bed, don't be, you know, scrolling, whatever you're doing, keep the bedroom to the 2 S's, sleep and sex. And if you're not having sex with anyone, just the 1 S, sleep, all right? Keep the bedroom to sleep. And for those who are lucky, sex. Now, pillar number 5, accountability. Realistically, you guys watching this probably knew a good bit about training, probably knew a good bit about nutrition, probably knew about output, and probably knew about sleep. But this is where you get it wrong. Information you think equals execution. And I'm going to tell you, information does definitely not equal execution. Because if you knew what to do, you wouldn't be watching this video. If you knew how to do it, which you probably do know how to do it, but if you knew how to do it for long enough, consistency, staying accountable to it over time, you'd have no reason to be watching this video. So clearly there's a gap, and that gap is accountability, okay? Everyone has the information these days, and if you don't have it, go on ChatGPT, go on Claude, go on Google, go to the gym and ask the personal trainer, whatever way you want to do it. The information is all out there. No problem to get the information these days. It's the execution. Execution is what people are lacking, and it's the accountability that allows you to continue to do that execution over time. So the way that this works is you plan what you're going to do in the gym that day, plan your training plan, plan your nutrition, plan your sleep, plan your cardio, plan your steps, your output, whatever it is. You track it, okay? What gets tracked gets measured, what gets measured gets managed. Everything that you do should be data driven. All the decisions that I make for my clients are data driven. How did they respond? So we plan their training plan, we plan their meal plan, we track the response, and then from there we make a decision. So what we do then is we review. How did the plan go? We track the data. Did it work? So we're reviewing whether it worked from the plan, and if it has worked, we review it. If it not, if it has worked, we continue. If not, we adjust. Okay, so we make the adjustments needed that haven't worked in the plan, whether that is a larger deficit in food, whether that is increased output, whether that's better sleep, whether that's a change in his training, whether it's better intensity, better execution, whatever it is. That's where we make the adjustments, and from the adjustments, once we have that right, we fucking repeat it. And if you're looking at these 5 pillars and you're thinking to yourself, I actually know what I need to be doing, I'm just not doing it consistently enough over time. I know what to do with my training, I know what to do with my nutrition, I know what to do with my output, I know what to do with my sleep, but my problem is the accountability. You're not alone. That is what coaching is there for, and that is why I have my own coach. I can't keep all my clients accountable if I don't have someone to keep me in check, someone to keep me accountable. And my coach has his coach, because once you understand the coaching process, you'll understand that you can't get it from ChatGPT, you can't get it from AI. You need a human being there that understands life, that understands you, understands your goals, and can also keep you accountable to those goals. And that is exactly what we do inside in Team 365. So if you're watching this video and you're thinking, I could do with a bit of help, getting accountable, keeping myself accountable to my goals, I will leave a link down below so you can book in for your free discovery call, a one-on-one chat with myself. Give me a bit of time to understand you, your body, your goals. We'll set you up with a timeline completely for free, a phase planner. We'll map it all out for you, show you exactly how we're going to get you from A to B and all the little bits in between with a plan that fits you and your lifestyle. Link will be down below. Book in for your free call. If not, guys, no problem. I'll see you in the next video. Please like, subscribe, comment, all that YouTuber shit.